And good afternoon to you on this Thursday edition of First Alert Weather Extra. Overall, a fairly nice day today. Another warm one, yes, windy, but thankfully not as extremely windy as it's been the last couple of days. Live look outside on our various sky cams shows mostly to almost overcast, mostly cloudy to almost overcast conditions outside. Temperatures near 70 degrees in most areas. The only exception to that is near the coastline, where we're in the upper 60s at the coast in Cameron. 72 officially here as of 5:30 in Lake Charles with a dew point of 65. Remember, the higher that number, the more humid it is, which normally is, some of you would argue, not a good thing because it makes it feel uncomfortable. But with our high fire danger, it's good to have more moisture in the air. That limits the danger a little bit. It does not prevent fires by any means, but it makes it at least a little less likely that fires are going to spread at least as easily as they would if we had extremely dry air like we did a couple of days ago. The other issue is rain. That's what we really need to help our fire situation, and there are a few showers, but heavy emphasis on that word few. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. You can see the rain going on here across portions of Jeff Davis Parish. Places like Hathaway seeing some showers at this moment along Highway 26 down to just north of Jennings, and that rain extends east and kind of south or southwestward, that is, over to around the Roanoke area. Near Welsh we have showers. All of that is moving off to the northeast. We'll move the radar southwestward, though, along this little band of rain. There may be some showers around the Hayes, Bell City area. Thornwell and Lake Arthur, at least some sprinkles are around. Farther south yet, there's actually some smoke mixed in here. It's a little difficult to see that. We'll come back to the radar here and look at the smoke product that the radar shows. And just to kind of zoom in a little bit here, you can see the area where there is a little bit of blue. That is smoke. It's harder to see it here, but it definitely shows up on the actual radar. At least it did a little earlier today. That's why I know that there is some smoke mixed in with some of this. A look at the visible satellite real quick. You can see the clouds, kind of a couple of different layers, just like we've seen the last few days. The lower clouds are the ones moving toward the north, and then toward the end, you can actually see activity moving from the top left to the bottom right. That means the clouds are moving toward the southeast. That's the upper level clouds across southwest Louisiana. Let's talk about the forecast for tonight. The low clouds will definitely stick around. You can see the temperatures slowly falling back into the mid 60s. We may eventually get into the lower 60s by tomorrow morning. You can also notice there's likely to continue to be at least some scattered or at least isolated showers around through around midnight. But I think after midnight, most of that activity gets pushed to the south as the cold front pushes on through the area. You can see the wind arrows there turning northwesterly, especially near sunrise tomorrow morning. So we'll start off our Friday morning, maybe a few degrees cooler than the last few days, which is not saying a whole lot. That's still well above the average for this time of year. Can't rule out some patchy fog in the area as well. Futurecast trying to show that. That's that very dark gray coloration around, or at least a lot of low clouds. But as we go through the day tomorrow, by mid-morning, the clouds and or fog, if that's the issue, will clear out quickly, and we'll top out, I think, everyone in the low 80s except near the coast. But it's also worth mentioning it's going to be warmer tomorrow for those of you in Cameron or anywhere along the Gulf Coast, because we'll have northerly winds. That means the wind is off the relatively warmer land. The last several days, we've had southerly winds, which have been off the much cooler Gulf waters, which gives you a cooling effect near the coast. You won't have that as much with northerly winds near the coastline. So heads up tomorrow, it definitely will be warmer. A look at the larger weather map shows the cold front just to our northwest now, sweeping on through tonight into tomorrow. So the slight drop in humidity will be more noticeable, I think, tomorrow night into Saturday morning, where we will have slightly cooler temperatures, but eventually southerly winds return again, probably sometime Saturday, if not on Sunday. That means the humidity levels will begin to go back up once again. Not only that, but hopefully next week we may see rain, but I'll admit, I'm not holding a lot of hope out for this. Futurecast, our long-term model, tries to insist that by Tuesday, we see a few showers with a better chance Wednesday into Thursday of next week. But considering the track record of the models for the last month or two in the long-range time period, I don't put a lot of faith in this. I'd put the rain chance at this moment only at about 10%, starting maybe as early as Tuesday for sure into Wednesday of next week. If we could get a little more consistency, we may be able to raise those rain chances a little bit, and we may end up doing that over the coming days. But to be clear, for now, rain, I think, is going to be fairly limited. Now, long range models do point toward maybe a better chance for rain as we go into the coming weeks ahead. But remember, there's no skill in the models predicting an exact time period of anything. It's just the signal from the models do show maybe a slightly more favorable pattern for rain, which we desperately need to help the fire situation. I realize there's burn bans in most places, but if you are going to be burning with or without the ban in place, I can't tell you what to do. But if you are going to be burning and there's not a ban everywhere, please do so with caution. Even with the slight improvement in the humidity levels, that does not mean fires can't spread. But certainly please use caution, as you should at any point. Even if there's not a ban, you should always use caution. Never leave fires unattended. That's usually how things get out of control anyway, so just be cautious. Out of the water, tomorrow actually shouldn't be a terrible boating day. Northeasterly winds should be fairly light, 5 to 10 knots. Seas only 1 to 2 feet or so. A look at the hunting and fishing conditions. Best time looks to be around 9 in the morning. A good time around 2:30 in the afternoon. That's near the time the moon comes up. Sunrise tomorrow morning, 6:40 in the morning. Sunset at 6:10 p.m. Can't stress enough. Those times are growing, meaning sunrise is getting earlier, sunset is getting later and later, a sign that spring is getting much closer. And if you didn't need that to prove it that spring's getting closer, look at this. This really proves it. Your 10-day forecast with high temperatures, upper 70s to near 80 degrees almost every day through not just this coming weekend, but even through next weekend. And unfortunately, very little chance for rain is in this forecast. We'll keep an eye on the middle of next week and see if we can raise those rain chances and hope we get the necessary rain that we really do need. But the odds of it at this moment still look pretty slim. So our best chance for rain is right now. Remember, you can always use our First Alert weather app if you do have any plans for this evening to check to see what is going on. But bottom line, warm weather for the upcoming weekend. So if you got outdoor plans, you should be just fine. That's going to conclude things for this edition of First Alert Weather Extra. I'll be back over on television coming up in about 20 minutes, then back here tomorrow afternoon at 5:30 with another edition of First Alert Weather Extra. We'll send you back to your regular programming here on your streaming devices.